Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This video is going to be reviewing my GoodReads reading. It's the GoodReads reading review of 2016. And I totally stole this idea from Bookie Laura, and I will link her video in the description box down below. So, near the end of the year, if you have a GoodReads account and you keep track of the books that you're reading and all that fun stuff, they will send you a link saying, hey, here's all your nerdy book stats for the year, which is fantastic. So I actually waited until I finished my last book of 2016 to pull them to actually do this video because I wanted to be super nerdy like that. The first two stats they give you are the number of books you've read and the pages you've read. So I read a total of 25 books, which is fantastic, and 8,480 pages. Now, I will say this, these numbers are a little skewed because if you DNF a book, GoodReads doesn't calculate that. It's either you read it or you didn't. So, I think I DNF'd one book this year that's on there, one or two. And they're counting them. So, like Frozen by Melissa De La Cruz, I DNF'd that. So, but that's counting in like, hey, I read it. And the pages are counting. So it's weird because I want to be like, hey, yeah, I read this. I may have stopped after 100 pages, but I read this and I want, you know, that to be included in my review when I write that on GoodReads. So, but they're a little skewed, but that's okay. We're just going to go with it. I know on BookTube there is a huge concentration on the number of books that you read. And people are like, oh, I'm going to read 100 books this year, which is fantastic if you can. I personally know I cannot read 100 books in a year. I am a slow reader and I do not have a lot of time for reading, which is unfortunate for anyone who does not have a lot of time for reading. But I digress. So 100 books is not going to happen at all unless they're all like children's books and graphic novels. To me, I don't count graphic novels as books that I've read, and that's just my personal preference. So, to each their own, really. I mean, I consider audiobooks books that I've read, so, you know, I know. Give and take, people. Give and take. That's what we're going to go with. So, I digress. So, I don't like to put an emphasis on the number of books I've read. If it's a good story and it's 600 pages, I'm gonna read it. And if it takes me 2 months, that's fine. If you've been subscribed to me for a while, you notice that I don't do like monthly TBRs or monthly wrap-ups because I don't have that much. Like if I read one book a month, that's a good month to me. So I'm not going to make a TBR that has 1 or 2 books and a wrap-up that has maybe a book on it, you know? So, but that's me. Everyone is different. That's what is so fantastic about the BookTube community, is there are so many different reading styles and all that sort of stuff, and it's fantastic. I love it. So, but I'm babbling. I'm going to stop babbling right now. So I want to put more of an emphasis on the number of pages I read, because to me that gives a more accurate representation of the kind of year I've had. If I have, you know, I could have 12 books read, but the number of pages could be 12,000 pages. Could you imagine reading 12,000 books in a year? Damn. Damn. Anyway, this time next year, I want to see how many more pages I've read instead of the books. So, like, because I would miss out on so many good stories if I was like, I don't read books over, like, 300 pages or something like that. You know, like the Crown of Stones trilogy, all of these books are close to or over 500 pages. The Black Dagger Brotherhood series, these have been getting increasingly bigger, and they're over 500 pages, which is fantastic. I love it. I love big books. I like big books and I cannot lie. Yeah, that's right, people. I totally just did that. Okay, so the shortest book that I read was The Grown Up by Gillian Flynn, and that was an audiobook. It's like it's really just a short story. When I downloaded The Grown Up from the library, I was like, yes, more hours of Gillian Flynn. But it wasn't. I was very disappointed. I was like, wait, what do you mean? Wait, what? It's over? What? It threw me off completely. So, moving along. The longest book I read was The Shadows by J.R. Ward. Let's see, the next one is the average length of the books I read was 339 pages. And I think that's accurate. Between the long books that I've been reading, like the two I mentioned, and the shorter books, like Percy Jackson. Some of those are shorter books, and that's fine. So I feel that's an accurate representation. The most popular book that I read this year was Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. And I know why, because it's a movie now. So everyone wants to read it and all that fun stuff. So that's fine. I'm a cool kid. The least popular book that I read was Ba by David Macaulay. And I actually read this for my children's literature class. This was one of the books that I actually read in its entirety. If it was a book I actually really enjoyed, I put it on there. And this happened to be the only book from that class that I put on there. My average rating for books was 4.1 stars. Now, if you don't know, the way I rate books on GoodReads, 1 star, I DNF'd. Because if I hate a book, I'm not going to finish it. Unless I absolutely have to, like, if it's for class or a book club or something like that. But mostly 1 stars are DNF'd. 3 stars are, I read it and I liked it. It's a good book. 5 stars, I read it, I loved it, and I want to reread it. I don't deal with 2 stars or 4 stars. It's either crap, good, or worth a reread. So, clearly, I read some really good books this year. Yay, good books! And again, I think that lends itself to the fact that I am a slow reader, so I am more picky about the books I pick because I don't want to waste time on a bad book. So, and then the last statistic that they have is the highest rated book I read on GoodReads. So, out of the books I read, which one is the highest rated on GoodReads? And that one is the Percy Jackson and the Last Olympian by Rick Riordan. And the average rating on that is 4.56. And again, it's a popular series. That happens to be the last book in the series. And I know I rated it a 5 because I want to reread the series. So I helped. So yeah, let me know what you got, what your stats were. If you make a video like this, link it down below. Alright guys, I will see you in the next video. Later!